Hello and welcome to Euroasia. I am Zuleika Zaman. Here are your top stories from Europe and Asia of this week. A tragic event that took place on Thursday has affected many citizens in South Korea. The sinking of the ship has left a hole in everyone's heart, especially the missing victim's family. South Korean officials have said it might take up to 2 months to recover those who are missing. Divers are battling strong currents in poor visibility to reach 270 missing passengers. 32 are confirmed dead. Some 174 passengers have been rescued. Relatives have begun providing DNA samples to help identify the dead. Ferry captain Lee John-seok, 69, and 2 crew members have been arrested. Mr. Lee says he delayed the evacuation fearing passengers would drift away. He faces charges including inattention of duty and violation of maritime law. Divers saw 3 bodies in the ship on Saturday but were unable to retrieve them. Shin Won-nam, the head of the Emergency Management Center, added that it was very unlikely someone trapped alive after the sinking could survive if it took this long. Investigations are focusing on a sharp turn the vessel took before it started listing and whether an evacuation order could have saved lives. Footage from the ship appeared to show instructions from crew members for passengers to remain on board even as it tilted dramatically to one side. The ferry Sewol was sailing from Incheon in the northwest to the southern resort island of Jeju. It capsized and sank within 2 hours. The UK government has banned taking driving tests in foreign languages. From now on, driving tests will only be taken in English and Welsh. Roads Minister Stephen Hammond said the move was meant to improve safety and clamp down on fraud. Theory tests were previously available with voiceovers in 19 foreign languages, and candidates could use an interpreter on both the theory and practical driving tests. The new changes were introduced after a consultation showed more than 70% supported the withdrawal of foreign language voiceovers and interpreters. Most of the respondents agreed that not understanding English or Welsh could lead to drivers being unable to read traffic signs, speak with traffic enforcement officers, or understand details of the rules of the road. The decision to ban the use of foreign languages in driving tests also reflects concerns about interpreters helping candidates cheat on their theory test by feeding them the correct answers. Since 2008, more than 1,300 theory test passes have been revoked after investigations into fraudulent interpreters. The RMT union has announced London Underground workers are to take 5 days of strike action over tube ticket office closures. The row is about the closure of all 260 tube ticket offices and 960 job cuts. Members will walk out from 9 p.m. on 28th of April for 2 days and again from the same time on 5th of May for 3 days. Widespread disruption was caused in February when tube workers took strike action for 1 day. A second day was postponed so talks could take place. At the time, the unions, RMT and TSA said London Underground had agreed to hold 2 months of talks, which would include a station-by-station review of the ticket office closures. The first 2 days of strike action will take place ahead of a May Day event in memory of former RMT leader Bob Crow, who died of a suspected heart attack on 11th of March, aged 52. He was prominent in the talks to avert a second strike earlier this year. The event will also be in remembrance of Tony Benn, the politician and campaigner who died several days after Mr. Crow. A study has said tests taken by foreign doctors who want to work in the NHS should be made harder to pass to bring them in line with UK standards. Research by University College London found a performance gap between international and UK medical graduates. It said pass marks for entry exams sat by international doctors should therefore be set considerably higher. but the British International Doctors Association disputed the findings and called for a standardised test for all. The research, commissioned by the General Medical Council, said 1,300 foreign doctors a year pass the capability exams, which assesses clinical and language skills. But it warned their subsequent performance indicated that half of them should not have qualified. It suggested raising the pass mark from 63 to 76%. More than 20 Sherpas were swept away by an icefall as they fixed ropes on the world's highest mountain, and officials fear the toll could rise further. 12 Sherpas were killed and 3 are missing on the slopes of Everest, after they were swept away by an ice avalanche in the worst single accident on the world's highest mountain since records began in 1922. 8 Sherpas were rescued from the icefall, but 5 of them are said to be in critical condition, with fears that the death toll could ultimately rise as high as 20. They were fixing ropes to Camp 1 at 19,700 feet and Camp 2, or Advanced Base Camp, at 21,000 feet when the avalanche swept them away. Officials have said it emerged from the Bubech icefall and destroyed tents at Camp 1. The Sherpas were employed by 6 different expedition companies, but were working together at the time. The Nepal government said it will give the families of the dead 40,000 Nepali rupees in immediate compensation, and they will receive a further 1 million Nepali rupees from their insurers. The US has warned Russia it will face further sanctions if pro-Russia military in eastern Ukraine do not disarm, as the Kremlin admits reinforcement troops have been sent to the border. Barack Obama said the US could take further economic and diplomatic action against Moscow if an international agreement to calm tensions in Ukraine is not implemented. Russia, Ukraine, the US and the European Union agreed on Thursday to a series of steps to de-escalate the crisis in Ukraine. But many of the groups that took over government buildings in a bid to declare independence in the largely Russian-speaking part of eastern Ukraine have yet to leave, saying they will only do so if Ukraine's government steps down too. The United States has ramped up the pressure on Moscow, urging full and immediate compliance of a 4-way agreement on Ukraine and warning of new sanctions if Russia fails to do so. An investigation into an alleged hardline Islamist takeover plot of Birmingham schools has widened, with 25 schools now under the spotlight. Birmingham City Council said it had received more than 200 reports in relation to its inquiry. It has appointed former head teacher Ian Kershaw as its chief advisor. Anonymous claims hardline Muslims were trying to take over the running of some city schools were made in a letter sent to local authorities last year. The 25 schools now being looked at include primaries, secondaries and academies. The 200-plus reports to the council include emails and calls from staffs, parents and governors. Concerns about how some of the 430 schools in the city were being run first emerged last year in a leaked anonymous letter which outlined how to implement what is called Operation Trojan Horse. Saudi Arabia to begin building world's tallest skyscraper. The Kingdom Tower in Jeddah will be 1 kilometer tall, dwarfing the current tallest building, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Saudi Arabia is scheduled to begin building the world's tallest tower next week, which will soar 1 kilometer into the sky when completed. The Kingdom Tower in the coastal city of Jeddah will measure 3,280 feet, some 568 feet taller than the current Guinness World Record holder, Dubai's Burj Khalifa, which stands at 2,716 feet. At an estimated cost of $1.23 billion, the tower in Saudi will require approximately 5.7 million square feet of concrete, 80,000 tons of steel for its 200 floors, and will take 5 years to complete. The tower overlooking the Red Sea will feature a 5-star Four Seasons hotel, apartments, office space and an observatory. Though constructing the tower is not without its many challenges. An issue is delivering concrete to the higher floors. When the Burj Khalifa was built, 6 million cubic feet of concrete was pushed through a single pump at night when temperatures were low enough to ensure that it would set, which could be an option in Saudi. Those are the top stories of this week. Thank you for watching. Please join me again next week. Stay safe and Allah Hafiz.